Hi guys, this is Nightmare 3464 and this story is getting interesting. Who's watching Serena in her room from the trees? You will know that Jeff is after her, but who's the other person? I wonder. Let's continue reading the story, okay? I woke by the sound of knocking at my front door. My eyes slowly opened. I turned to my door. It was quiet for a moment. Knock, knock, knock. I looked at my clock. It was 9:05 in the morning. It's Saturday. Who in the hell be here so early? I was wondering. I sat up and stretching my arms and shaking my head. I didn't even look out my window, knowing what I will see. I stand up out of my soft bed and creaked. Was crawling back to me. I wish I could just stay asleep in my bed. I walked over to my door and opened it and walked down the hallway. Took a deep breath as I walked down the stairs with my bare feet. The carpeted floor was soft. It's better than a hard, cold wooden floor. I reached my front door and I opened it. My eyes widened. Hello, young lady. Are your parents home? We need to ask them a few questions. The big police officer man was at my doorstep asking. I stared at them for a moment, and then there was 3 police cars and an ambulance outside me and my neighbor's yard. Of course, this was going to happen. I knew what was going on. I looked back at them. I up and shook my head. No, they're at work right now. They looked at each other and back at me. Well, we ask you some few questions then. The slender one of the cops asked, with short hair. I stared another moment, then nodded slowly and letting them in. Once they were inside, I led them to the living room. I took a seat in a chair while they sat on the couch. After they settled down, they looked at me. Hello, ma'am. My name is Officer Colt, and my partner's name is Officer Benson. Do you know what happened last night? The larger cop, Colson, asked. I turned slightly, not enough to let him notice. I know too well what happened. My heart was aching once more. I remember what Jeff had written and came back from my thoughts. I blinked and shook my head. No. They think for a moment. Well, your neighbor has passed away. Peggy Caroline? Do you know her well? Like, did she have any enemies or talk to my parents about anything bad happened? I looked surprised. For an act, I really knew what they were going to tell me. That, as they asked again, I shook my head again. Have you seen any suspicious people around the area? Has anyone could be part of this crime? I shook my head again. Officer Colt looked and ran out the questions. I was still a kid. He didn't want to make me scared or whatever has been killing people. Have you ever heard of a murderer that has been seen around this town? Jeff the Killer? Is it? I believe that's what they call him. I stood still. I had heard of it. In fact, I met him. But I couldn't bring myself to tell them that. I nodded as they continued asking me. Colt think hard, but stopped. The slimmer partner, Benson, speak up. If we may ask you, whose bedroom is upstairs? I froze. It was mine. Mine, I answered, shyly. They looked at each other with concerned faces and silent before they turned back to me and spoke. Do you have any interest with Jeff the Killer? Dating, seeing each other, hopefully nothing sexually? Blush spread over my face. My face heated up quickly. I shook my head with my long silver hair wishing over my face. The officers stared at me intensely as they looked at each other. I'm hoping they didn't notice my reaction. Well, I'm sorry for the inconvenient question and uncomfortableness, ma'am. The only reason why we're asking this, when we were investigating Mrs. Caroline's room, where the crime had took place, her window was the only one with blood, with what it looks like it's with finger-drawn heart, with words, "You're beautiful," with it. We noticed that the message was pointing whoever was sleeping in that room. Which led us to probably assume that the killer might have some feelings, probably romantic towards you. We could have mistaken it by you. You can never be too careful, especially with this killer. My heart pounded, getting worried by the questions. Benson looked away, thinking again. Looking at his partner, they whispered words between each other, and then they looked back to me. Colt had a smile as they stood. Well, I think that's enough we need to know. Thank you. Serena Nightstone. I corrected him. He smiled, then nodded. I walked them out, and once they were gone, I shut the door, leaning against it. I looked up and walked towards my living room mirror. Blush was still on my face. It was brighter from the questions. I almost thought that I was going to cave into the questions. They were serious of me. Could they tell I was lying? Did they know that I definitely wasn't willing to find out? Less than trying now, I walked to my kitchen and grabbed a bowl of my favorite cereal, Cookie Crisp, and poured it in the bowl with some milk and grabbed a spoon. It has been gone only a few minutes, and then I headed upstairs. Sitting on my bed and looking out my window, the blood was still there, and so was the writing and the heart. I was wondering what's going on. Are they going to investigate some more? I don't know. I turned away from my window. I walked over to my desk, in my room. I sat on my chair and opening my laptop, turning it on, messages in the whole world. Now I sit on my bed, chatting away on the phone with Taya and Sam, and we're all joking around, discussing random stuff. So, Serena, where are your parents? Sam asked. I shrugged, knowing that they can't see it. Oh, they're on their trip. It's their job. Their companies are together or something. I never really did pay attention to my parents' work, or what they do for their jobs anyway. All I